It probably sounds so cliche, but go out to lunch. Like, just go out to lunch. Sit down with each other. Like once we, and that's the thing. Like, and I see a lot of black men do it too, right? I see a lot of black men do it, but it's not highlighted. It's not cool. Like that's some stuff that I remember. I was talking to one of my friends that I grew up with. I said, "Yeah, I'm about to go get some lunch with such and such." You're like, yo, bro, what's that gay stuff? You know what I'm trying to say? But he was playing. But some bids can be or some jokes can be, serious underlined. You know what I'm trying to say? So I understood what he's saying because he didn't understand why I'm hanging out with somebody that I just met. You know what I'm trying to say? So, and we have that defense mechanism, whereas though we don't want to meet new black people because we was taught not to trust each other. That was the first thing, not to trust each other, right? If we trust each other and we can really rely on our brother, that I can lean on him, I can depend on him, or not even just being um not dependent on him, but having some hope that we can propel together or we can grow together. Oh my God! Like you said earlier, that's the unity is the most powerful thing that the black man can ever utilize. Ever. I'm gonna be honest, ever. Because when you look at it, black men coming together and not just black men as well, because you see in my generation, we are starting to separate black women, black men, black trans, black gays, all we separate is all divided. Black from south, black from north, light skin, dark skin, we want to separate all type of walks of life when it comes to black people, but why can't we just say that we're black? Like, so black women need black men need black women, but we need to learn how to hold each other more accountable too. That's another thing. A lot of the older generation is scared to hold the young men accountable because young men don't know how to take that advice, and then the vice versa. When the young men or the young adults, because I'm not going to even say it's a gender thing. When we hold them accountable, they looking at us like you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't experienced life yet. you know, it it's not true, but it's true because at the end of the day, we didn't experience life yet. So sometimes we don't have that wisdom. We just know we smart enough to know something, but we don't have the wisdom because we didn't experience it. You know what I'm trying to say? So it can be, and that it can get tricky when it comes to that. However, some of the stuff that we know, the person that we might be telling us this is the person that might told us this. If I tell my mom, come on, get up. I'm not doing nothing today. No, be productive. I'm not doing nothing. I'm grown. You taught me this. You get what I'm trying to say? And I'm not talking about my mom specifically. I'm just giving out a scenario and hypothetically speaking. But that's where it comes from. Just holding your brother accountable, understanding the importance of unity, understanding the importance of accountability. It's so powerful. It's so powerful, and we have to start normalizing these things. We got to make these things, cool. We got to make this a trend. Like when it comes to financial literacy and stuff like that, I seen people make that a trend. I'm trying to say now people think it's cool to have good credit. People brag about having good credit. That started a trend where as though that helped African Americans really prevail. LLC. You hear a lot of people talk about LLCs. You know, it's I feel as though this the most LLC's been up. But you know, just things like that, business credit, things like that. We all made that a trend, and now we seeing black people prevail and become more successful. So if we just do the same thing with just accountability and unification. Man, man, I don't even. I can only imagine. I really can only imagine. That's the dream. That's the dream.
What's going on, everybody? I'm glad that you're back. And in this episode, you get a chance to hear from myself and another good brother and hear us engage on topics that range from the impact of sports on black boys and their community, the love of mothers for their sons, and why having lunch with good brothers will impact your life and also help us grow together. Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody. It's Octavius Blount. I'm your host for the Middle Brother Podcast. I want to say thank you for this young brother that's about to get on. I'm very proud of him. I'm very happy that he is joining. We have a future, I would say, future politician in the making, but just a community leader that we all love, know, and respect. Good brother, if you can introduce yourself, please do.
Yes, thank you for one for allowing me to have time on your platform, just to have a talk. But my name is Milaj Robinson. I am a political science major attending Morehouse College. I also serve in a lot of different roles, and we'll talk about it. But the main thing is I'm a Morehouse student from Philadelphia.
Hey, man, I love that.
Mhm.
We will definitely get into that. All the questions, all the things that we got going on right now. We're just gonna flow right into this, good brother. So the first question I got for you, it's a question I ask brothers all the time. What's one thing you love about being a black man?
Wow, that's a great question, and I never thought about that. And, that's very dang. That's a great question. A lot of people ask me a lot of good questions, but this right here is a good question. So one thing that I like the most about being a black man is looking at the history of black people in general. But then when you look at the black man and how they made a revolution in all parts of the world, when it comes to Haiti, when it comes to Africa, when it comes to Europe, when it comes to America, we really are impactful. And people will try their best to strip all our power and our strengths away from us because they know how valuable we are. So I really would say just the history and that melanin in our skin has some type of DNA that just makes us different. So I'll definitely just say definitely our strength for sure.
Okay. I know one thing for me is our perseverance as black men when it comes to the things that we have to go through internally and also externally with the world that we live in, and just how we persevere, and also the impact, like you said, impact, and how much that impact makes and creates for other people. I think when we come together as a group, we're more powerful. So I'm glad that you said the impact and our strength, and I also wanted to add perseverance because that's one big thing that people forget. It's also one thing that people may not understand about us as black men. We may not show everything, but we're going to push through. But at the end of the day, we also need help as well. So I appreciate you for adding that into that space. So we're going to jump right into this space we call going in the den with Milaj Robinson. So, first question I got for you is: at what moment did you discover your blackness as a black man?
The moment that I discovered my blackness, I discovered my blackness. To be honest, mm, 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 mm. I think okay. So when I was younger, I played football for the
Hmm.
YMCA Gators. It's in the city in Alany, uptown section. We always played against people that look like me. So I always been in the neighborhood and people that look like me. I always went to school. However, one time we went out the city and we played a bunch of other people and just how they whole culture was, their energy. they demeanor. It wasn't us, and we
Mm-hmm.
can feel that. However, we did lose that game. We lost. But we could tell the difference. We could tell the difference between us and them.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely still play hard. They still know how to play football. It was just our whole demeanor, and it was something that I never really got the feel of. It was like an
Mm-hmm.
environment that wasn't comfortable in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way. I wouldn't say it was a bad way, like a nervous type of environment, but it was definitely something that was new to me that I
Okay.
couldn't quite at the time figure out what it was. And
Mm.
now looking back at it, I definitely understand, um, you know, that melanin it's just different. It's different.
Yeah, I feel you. I think I'm in that same space as well, and it came through sports, obviously school as
Hmm.
well. For me, it was like a trajectory when it came from, let's say, elementary, middle, high school, college, masters. It's like it was just a. I felt different in all kind of
Hmm.
spaces, and my blackness was seen. My blackness was not seen at sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, Meaning, when I say not seen, so we had in elementary and middle school, we all looked the same, but we were a family. We had some people that were different shades, different colors, and all kind of sorts of ways, but we never looked at it like
Right.
that. So when I hear you talking about, we was a little different from everybody
Hmm.
else, um, and also language is different as well when it comes into moving into another space. And sports is a totally different
Hmm.
language when you're really talking about it. But I hear you, and I think that's one thing that I want to like get at,
Hmm.
the far as being different. So with that feeling of feeling
Hmm.
different, how did you explore your feelings as a black man when it came down to people saying, "Oh, don't show your emotions. Don't express yourself that way. Don't always be angry." So, how did you explore those feelings when you went through that and how you discovered it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in a single parent household with my mother and my
Mm-hmm.
sister. My mom worked at, she owned her own salon. So sometimes, she had to take us to work, me and my sister. And it was kind of cool for my sister because she eventually grew up to be a cosmetologist as well. But, for
Okay.
me, it was kind of it was kind of hard. It was kind of rocky because, I'm watching women on a consistent basis. However, my mom did try her best to put me around men and other
Mm-hmm.
young men. That's why she put me in sports. That's why I really feel as though every young man should, you know, play a sport, and no matter what sport it
Mm-hmm.
is. But
Yeah.
that teach you a lot of different fundamentals in life and discipline. Um, just in that one activity, right? But moving forward, I was very emotional. I always used to cry. I was very emotional. And my mom, it was to a point where at first she used to be like, no, you can't do that. That's for girls. Stop crying. You like,
Mm-hmm.
you acting like a punk and stuff like that. But then she just let me be me. Right. And then my father, he came back home after like a 6, 7 year bid. And
Mm-hmm.
I cut it out. As soon as he came home, I cut it out. And ever since my father did come home, I have been less emotional. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still emotional. That's just the person that I am. However,
Yeah.
now it comes to being aware of that and understanding how I could, be calm through chaos.
Mm.
Think straight. Just take a deep breath. Reevaluate things in that nature that every man have to learn how to grow into, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
always a learning process. Like I said, I'm still emotional. I still sometimes I don't really cry like that. But if I do cry, I won't feel no type of way. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Especially
And you
if
shouldn't.
it's tears of joy, if it's because I'm feeling some type of way, let me just let it out. I'm not. But yeah. So when it comes to just crying in particular, that's a very touchy topic because
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with my little brother and how I'm telling him about how to deal with the emotions and stuff like that. I'm telling them
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to cry, but don't always cry. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's about, all right, is you going to just cry and whine about it, or is you going to cry and then you going to figure out the solution? We going to take that problem. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I understand what you're saying.
yeah, yeah,
I hear you.
that's where I'm from.
And I just want to let you know that I mean we've known each other for a while
Mm-hmm.
now. I think you know me a little bit, and I know you a little bit. I think you're gonna know what I'm gonna say, but it's like it's okay to cry and not try to figure something out in that moment. In that moment,
Okay.
try not to do it in that moment. To say, you know what, I'm gonna let this out right
Mm-hmm.
now, and then I'm gonna figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. I think that's one thing that I would add just to that space because I've cried on several
Mm-hmm.
occasions. I'm not even gonna hold you. I've cried on several occasions and just sat there because I had to get it out. I didn't want to think about anything because if I'd have kept thinking, I'd have been crying some more, crying some
Mm-hmm.
more. But I'm glad that you are showing your brother and being a model for him to say, look, it's okay to cry, but let's figure it out. So later on down the line, you know how to get through
Right.
this. I think you're helping him in the beginning stages where some young boys don't get that help.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to commend you for
Mm-hmm.
that
Thank you.
because in the future, he's going to turn around and be like, Milaj, thank you. I figured this out. I figured that out all because you told me how to do
Yeah,
this. So I commend you for that. And I'm proud of you for saying that as
I
well.
appreciate you.
No problem. I know you said in the beginning, single parent household, same as me. But your mom tried to put you in spaces where black men were. So how did you navigate society knowing that your mother was trying to do her best to put you in certain spaces where black men were? How did you navigate this space and who did you learn from?
To be honest, I always been so. I grew. All right, so from I would honestly say from 1 to 7, my father was in my life.
Okay.
Well, so I was born to 7. My father was in my life. So my father did teach me how to shake a man hand, firm grip. He
Mm-hmm.
taught me a lot at a young age.
Yeah.
So he instilled a lot of, and my mother too. My mother, both of them as a collaborative taught me, how to be a productive and how to conduct myself as a young man, um,
Yeah.
or as a boy, as I should say. So I always been into sports. I always been into, I would just say sports. I always been into some sports. So talking to other older men, letting them know like I know stats and stuff like that. They looking at me like, oh snap, young boy on it. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
me being, and then when it comes to my peers, I didn't really have no cousins or nothing like that. Like no
Mm-hmm.
cousins that was my age that was boys. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just about winging it. I wanted to play football, so that grew some toughness in me. Um, and that was my first sport that I ever played football. So physical contact. You gotta get dirty. You gotta run.
Yeah.
We would run. Sometimes we used to be all of us. We used to be crying while we was running. So like it was like a
Yeah.
brotherhood. That was where I met some of my true brothers. People that I still talk to this day. We're not probably as close as we used to, but that's my
Mm-hmm.
brother. You get what I'm trying to say? We built.
Yeah.
We won together. We lost together. We ate together. We wrapped up our nights together. You know what I'm trying to say? We spent a night over
Yeah.
each other's house, stuff like that. That was where the real collaborative brotherhood was. You know what I'm trying to say? And
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
be honest, it's so crazy because every black man that played a sport can say this. They can
Yeah.
test they
Yeah.
can that could be their testimony. Like a lot of people can say that. Especially with football. That's why I really want the city to start funding these football programs and stuff like that, because some people just can't afford it. And even when I was younger, I realized a couple people couldn't afford it, but it was a family. It was a what can I say? It was a village. That's the
Yeah.
word. That's the word right there. It
Yeah.
was
That's
a
the
village.
word.
Like coaches used to buy us cleats, people the cleats that mother couldn't afford it, helmets. One coach would be like, all right, I'll buy
Mm-hmm.
the helmet, or you buy the cleats, or you buy the shoulder pads. And that's how they
Mm-hmm.
they made sure that one young man, played football for that season, and he probably had that
Mhm.
equipment for the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, and I don't really even talk about how the importance of that like that, because I really don't think about that. I think about
Yeah.
the education system a little bit more, but that right there outside of the education system, whereas though they got stuff to do, whereas though are
Mhm.
they actually have a social life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They not playing
Yeah.
sports through the TV and talking through the TV. No, they actually are in person. So right
Yeah.
there was amazing, amazing.
I think when you said any black man can attest to that, I think that is true. Um, so even in the space of knowing that these black men took care of you,
Hmm.
took care of the team when they could and when they had to, it also showed a sense of responsibility because as a coach, you want people on your team, yes. But at the end of the day, you are trying to save some of these young black men because, like you said, they can be in school, but they still got to get home.
Hmm.
They can be home, but they still got to get to school. So when you get that through line to sit there and say, okay, you coming to practice because I want you to be
Hmm.
safe. I think that's one thing that I'm glad that you said it should be more funding in this space because when you look at the city, when you look at these young men, I ride by in the Northeast and sit there and say, okay, it's a lot of football programs out here, but it's a lot of parents out here. And a lot of people that's not shown as much as we
Yeah.
think. So thank you for bringing that
Hmm.
up because that's key. That's also another way to keep young brothers out of the
Yes.
streets as one.
Yes.
And it's also to keep them safe, but also to learn this is how you grow together as black men and come together as black men as a team.
Hmm.
Because when you ran down it and said, we ate together, we lost together, we won together, we ended our nights together, that's what it
Yeah.
is. And then, yes, you may not, they may go here, they may go there, but y'all still stay in contact at some
Right.
point. So thank you for bringing that up because that's key. And I know we brought up a lot of hats that you wear in the beginning,
Yeah.
but we're going to slide right into the hats that you do
Yeah.
wear because I do want to ask you about how you identify as far as and how you represent those identities
Mhm.
that you have. Because I can say you social media man, or I can sit there and say you future politician or an
Hmm.
advocate. But at the core of it, you're a black man who wants to see something
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
A young black man. We don't have a lot of young black men that's your age right now that's trying to see
Right.
change. So talk to me a little bit about how do you represent those hats that you have on and do you wear them all the time or do you take them off to take a break?
That's a great question. First, I would say I'm a humanitarian. That's for one,
Hmm.
and that fits into every role that I play or every position that I have on a
Hmm.
professional level. Um,
Yeah.
yes, I can take off those hats for sure.
Hmm.
But sometimes I get uncomfortable when I take off my hats. To be all the way
Hmm.
honest with you, so when it
Okay.
comes to all right, so right now I am a full time worker at the Mayor's Office of Civic Engagement and Voluntary Services, under the Community Resource Corps. So that's like my main job right now. Whereas though we help residents get the resources that they need. Then after that, I'm a CEO of a nonprofit organization called Youth Creating New Beginnings. That's another prominent focus and priority that I focus on when it comes to just helping the youth.
Hmm.
So that's really big to me. And I'll talk a little bit about my nonprofit organization later. But
Hmm.
then after that, I have been doing a lot of internships with commercial real estate. That's something that
Hmm.
I'm really loving. I'm gonna be honest. I've been wanting to do real estate in general, but learning the
Yeah.
commercial side and how construction management, project management, stuff like that is enhancing my knowledge and making me want to learn more. Um, then I am the vice chair of the Philadelphia Youth Commission. Um, on the policy side, I'm the chair of the policy and the legislation side. So
Hmm.
I fight for legislations and policies that will
Hmm.
impact the youth of Philadelphia.
Hmm.
What else I do? I'm a committee person in my ward in the 61st ward,
Mm-hmm.
18th division. So all those things really is not really about me, right? Because even when it comes to real estate, I want to focus on how we can make housing affordable. When it comes to
Okay.
the community resource corps, I'm figuring out how I can put people on resources for the nonprofit organization. I'm trying to figure out who I can pair these kids that's a part of my program with the proper mentor that fits them. You get what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say? For
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Youth Commission, that is more so of the politics side. Now I'm at the table advocating for the youth. Now I'm coming to City Hall. Now I'm coming to elected officials and saying this is the information that I grabbed from a lot of people. Oh yeah, and I also do boys track after work
Yeah.
every Monday and Wednesday from five to 6:30. So that's where I really dedicate my life to. I dedicate my life to impact the community, and while I'm
Mm-hmm.
impacting the community, it builds a better sense of who I am, and it helps me in the process. It fulfills my heart. So
Mm.
I wear that humanitarian hat wherever I go. Though so I'm gonna be honest. So when I say I take that hat
Okay.
off, I'm lying a
Yeah.
little bit because even when I'm at parties, man, I can be at a party and I see a girl, she drunk or something, and we gotta be like, no, all my friends, we sober up, or we get ourselves together, focus up, and be like, no, we gotta take her to wherever she need to go, and make sure that she's
Mm-hmm.
safe. So, and it's
Yeah.
many a times, plenty of times when somebody throw up on the floor, and it's not even my party, and I see it. I feel like I'm responsible. All right, yo, let's go get some paper towels. Let's figure this out. You know what I'm trying to say? So that
Yeah.
humanitarian act and that's being of service is something that I feel as though it can never be stripped from me.
Mm. I love that because you're saying you lead with your heart, you move with your mind, and you love the community.
Yeah.
So, with all these hats that you wear,
Hmm.
there are a lot of expectations that you may have on
Yeah.
yourself. Um, so, what are those expectations? 'Cause I know it may be something far fetched, it may be something that's attainable, but what are those expectations that you have on yourself, and how do you overcome societal expectations?
When it comes to the expectations part, I really had I'm my biggest critic. So
Mm-hmm.
other people expectations, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it can compare to mine. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm.
So I know my
Mm.
potential. I know what
Yeah.
I'm capable of, and I jot that down. I'm journal.
Yeah.
I actually do what you advised me to do last summer when you was like, record yourself, document yourself. Right. I
Yeah.
watch my process. I watch my growth. And that's something that you know that's my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Self reflection, all that. When I had to take accountability and stuff like that, that's all
Mm.
coming from. All right, I know I can do this. I know I went wrong, so how can I do better? So I definitely
Mm.
think nobody expectations are even valid to my viewpoint of myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, like when it comes to expectations, I'm really the biggest critic, my biggest competition. I want to be better than yesterday. I want to be better than you know last year. Milaj is like I told myself it's
Yeah.
different levels of Milaj. So
Mm-hmm.
it's on me to unlock those responsibilities. Some might take longer than others, and some people might tell me like, yeah, what happened with that? Why you didn't get this? Why you didn't do that? And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, and my favorite quote is everybody got their time, right?
Mm.
Everybody got their time.
Mm.
If you
Mm.
working towards it, you're gonna get
Yeah.
the patience part is really that's what really can dictate if you fail or if you succeed.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that's where it comes.
You said a word right there. I'm proud of you. Like I'm laughing, but like I'm proud of
No,
you
no, I
because
appreciate you.
the Milaj that I saw in the beginning
Hmm.
to the Milaj that I see right now, I said this to all the young brothers that I know.
Hmm.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you because exceeded the expectations of
Mm-hmm.
yourself? Because we know what Milaj was like
Mm-hmm.
before. If he could tell us stuff right now, you'd be like, I did it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I'm proud of
Mm-hmm.
you. And even going through like your journey as a young black man right
Mm-hmm.
now, like I said, societal expectations may be a thing, but I love that you said, yeah, that can't compare to how my expectations are for
Mm-hmm.
myself. Um, so how would you like people to perceive black men as a whole when it comes down to the black men that you said you've experienced, the young brothers that you see, but also how you what you see in society right now? What would you want society to say about young black men and how you want them to perceive black men?
Yes. So the first thing I would want to say is where I perceive the mindset that I have today when it comes to the spectrum of black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first real glance that I got where I'm like, all right, this is black men is when I went to Morehouse. I went to
Mm.
Morehouse. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Um, I was coming in thinking I was the smartest, the flyest, the coolest, um, uh, well traveled. I feel as though I was the best coming out of where I was coming from and going
Yeah.
to there. I'm like, yeah, I'm still that, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a cocky way.
Yeah.
My first class, all right. Second class, okay. Third class, which was my national government class, I swear it was because in the beginning of the school year you're not really learning about nothing, but the discussions
Mm-hmm.
that we had on the first day,
Yeah.
I was quiet, and I'm never quiet in rooms. Never. I was never
Mm-hmm.
the. I always would try to find something to chip in, but
Yeah.
my Morehouse brothers, well articulate, knowledgeable, you know, just well traveled, and
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up at the time. I'm gonna be all the way honest. It was an honors class. It was sophomores, juniors in that class, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking like, oh snap! I recorded it my first day. I said, no, this this ain't it. This ain't it
Yeah.
because I felt uncomfortable, and it made me have to
Mm.
challenge myself. Like, all right, now this is the expectations of being a black man. You get what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say? Young man too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when you meet the alumni and you meet other HBCU graduates or other men that are successful at what they're doing, and not just about successful when it comes to the dollar, but when it comes to the family, how they treat their wife, how they treat their kids, if they talk about their kids, if stuff like that. That are
Yeah.
are now I understand what a black man is, and a lot of young men that I was talking to and stuff like that at Morehouse, like my Morehouse brothers, I actually wanted to know where they came from. Like, how did you get
Mm.
this mindset? They talk and
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing they talk about is family. Yeah, my mom and dad is such and such, such and such. My mom and dad always
Mm.
put me in this program, that program, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, now I understand on how I want my family dynamic to be. Right now, that's
Okay.
that's shaping my culture a little bit, shaping my future. Whereas though something that I couldn't see when I first got in there, now it's getting a little
Yeah.
blurry. Now, right now, I'm gonna be honest, it's getting better and better. Like whereas though I can see that vision,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially for a couple of my Morehouse brothers took me to their house, gated community, mansion. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Black family,
Yeah.
mom and dad come downstairs chilling. I'm like, no, that's how I want to be. That's right. That right there. And so I would definitely say in going to that HBCU and getting that HBCU experience, um, taught me the black standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would never trade that in for the world. I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, as a whole, how would you want society to view black men? Because I know society looks at black men as angry,
Hmm.
upset. How do you want society to view black men?
Um, I would like society to view black men as well dressed, well traveled,
Mm.
well educated, well perceived, approachable, right? Because it's a lot
Yeah.
of I'm gonna be honest, we have to separate. the black men and the black boys or black males, right?
Mm.
Because
Okay.
it's a difference. It's a big difference
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to that. It's a big difference when it comes to black men and black boys because you can be 30 years old and not a man,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be
Mm-hmm.
21 years old and you're a man. It's about the
Yeah.
character, the morals, and the ethics that you build because that it doesn't just
Mm-hmm.
happen overnight. You have to
It
build,
does not.
and even the men are still building. A man is not a man if he's comfortable or where he's at. And I'm not talking about money. We always think about money.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not talking about money. We talking about and me and you could go on for days.
Yeah.
We definitely talk about the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas though you have to take accountability, be responsible, um,
Mm-hmm.
have the ability to lead and know how to be led. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
those dynamics, whereas though that matriculate you into that manhood and that sustainability of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the young black males are black males by default, by systematic things that happen that they can't that's out of their control. So they're not really
Yeah.
aware of
Yeah.
I'm a black like I'm not a man yet because they don't even know what a real man is. You know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say? So
Oh, I hear
that
you.
that right there is where though we need we need to really when it's internally as
Yeah.
black men together
Yeah.
to put an emphasis on what a black man is,
Mm-hmm.
and demonstrate it to the young men like, all right, these are some things like that you need to practice at a young age that can propel you to be the best man that you can be. So
Mm.
that right there is just like the biggest thing for real.
Mm. You said some key things that got me fired up a little
Mhm.
bit. So when you look at when you talk about a 30-year-old
Mhm.
that mentally is still a young man,
Mhm.
you have a 21-year-old mentally is mature.
Mhm.
Those are two different black men.
Mhm.
It can be the both of them can have the same
Mhm.
environment, but one is just they're still stuck.
Mhm.
And I think the one that's matured, he had to grow up faster than a lot of other people. So I can say you're mature for your
Mhm.
age, but I can also say it was the people you were around that got you where you
Right.
are. Where you sit there and say, you know what, I'm Milaj
Mhm.
Robinson. I'm going to take bits and pieces from you,
Mhm.
and now I got to create my own stuff
Right.
because I like what you got. I like what I see, and I think I commend Wolf for doing that for you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, you saw me, you saw everybody else in the office, but that's the one you see the
Mhm.
most.
Yeah.
And him being mature up here allowed you to see I need to do the same
Right.
thing. If I want to get to where I want to be, I have to be mature. I have to be responsible, accountable. So thank you for adding that dynamic in this space because that's one thing that's not talked
Yeah.
about. And I do want to say, well dressed is one thing that people should see black men
Yeah.
as.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that as well.
Mhm.
Um, I do want to ask you a question because the main reason about this
Mhm.
podcast is mainly because I've seen the trajectory of the older generation and the younger generation but button heads. So a good brother like you in his 20s
Mhm.
is probably saying the same thing a brother in his 50s is saying, but y'all are not listening to each other.
Mhm.
Now you got me in the middle,
Mhm.
that middle
Mhm.
brother, that sits there and say, hey, OG, you need to listen to him because he's saying the same thing. He might need your help
Mhm.
because you've seen this already.
Mhm.
And then vice versa. Hey, young king, I know you saying something right now, but he's been through this already. You might want to
Mhm.
listen. So it's me translating for both of y'all to sit there and say, look, y'all saying the same
Right.
thing, but there's still that tension of, nah, they don't want to
Right.
listen. Both sides, nah, they don't want to listen. I ain't trying to hear you. I'm gonna do it
Right.
myself. And the main thing that you said is we can do this
Mhm.
together. So the question I do have for you is, what's one thing based off your experience and what you've seen? What's one thing black males can do to grow together?
It probably sounds so cliche, but go out to lunch. Like, just go out to lunch, sit down with each other. Like once we, and that's the thing. Like, and I see a lot of black men do it too, right? I see a lot of black men do it, but it's not highlighted. It's not cool. Like, that's some stuff that I remember. I was talking to one of my friends that I grew up with. I said, "Yeah, I'm about to go get some lunch with such and such." You're like, "Yo, bro, what's that gay stuff?" You know what I'm trying to say? But he was playing. But some bids can be, or some jokes can be, serious underlined. You know what I'm trying to say? So I
Yeah,
understood what he's saying because he didn't understand why I'm hanging out with somebody that I just met. You know what I'm trying to say? So, and we have
yeah,
that defense mechanism, whereas though we don't want to meet new black people because we was taught not to trust each other. That was the first thing, not to trust each other, right? If
mm-hmm.
we trust each other and we can really rely on our brother, that we are, I can lean on him, I can depend on him, or not even just being um not dependent on him, but having some hope that we can propel together or we can grow together. Oh my God! Like you said earlier, that's the unity is the most powerful thing that the black man could ever utilize. Ever. I'm gonna be honest, ever. Because when you look at it, black men coming together, and not just black men as well, because you see in my generation, we are starting to separate black women, black men, black trans, black gays. All we separate. It's all divided. Black from south, black from north, light skin,
Mm-hmm.
dark skin. We want to separate all type of walks of life when it comes to black people, but why can't we just say that we're black?
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
so black women need black men, black men need black women, but we need to learn how to hold each other more accountable too. That's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. A lot of the older generation is scared to hold the young men accountable because young men don't know how to take that advice, and
Mm-hmm.
then vice versa. When the young men or the young adults, because I'm not going to even say it's a gender thing. When we hold them
Yeah.
accountable, they looking at us like, you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't experienced life yet.
Mm-hmm. I hear
It,
you.
it it's not true, but it's true because at the end of the day, we didn't experience life yet. So sometimes we don't have that wisdom. We just know. We smart enough
Yeah.
to know something, but we don't have the wisdom because we didn't experience it. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? So it,
Oh, I
it,
know.
it can be, and that it can get tricky when it comes to that. However, some of the stuff that we know, the person that we might be telling us this is the person that might taught us this. If I tell my mom,
Mm-hmm.
"Mom, come on, get up. I'm not doing nothing today. No, be productive. I'm not doing nothing. I'm grown. You taught me this."
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say? And I'm not talking about my mom specifically. I'm just
Yeah.
giving out a scenario,
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically speaking. But that's where it comes from. Just holding your brother accountable, understanding the importance of unity, understanding
Mm-hmm.
the importance of accountability. It's so powerful. It's so powerful,
Yeah.
and we have to start normalizing these things. We got to make these things, cool. We got to make this a trend. Like when it comes to financial literacy and stuff like that, I seen people make that a trend. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say now people think it's cool to have good credit. People brag about having good credit. That is
Mm-hmm.
that started a trend where though that helped African Americans really propel. LLC, you hear a lot of people talking about
Yeah.
LLCs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's I feel as though this the most LLCs been up. But
Right.
just things like that, business credit, things like that. We all made that a trend, and now we seeing black people prevail and
Yeah.
become more successful. So if we just do the same thing with just accountability and unification.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
You know how far we get?
man. I don't even. I can only
I'm being
imagine.
honest.
I really can only imagine. That's
Yeah.
the dream. That's the dream.
Love, love, accountability, support. Like those three words can help everything over here. And I'm glad that you said what you said. You said it may sound cliche. Sometimes you just gotta go out to lunch. Sometimes. So thank you for saying that. Because that's the whole reason. Like I want I don't know if you've heard me talk about it, but that's what I want. I want us to be better together. Not better solo, because there's some things you know that I don't know.
Hmm.
And vice versa. And older black men know some things more than both of us. So it's like, why are we not helping each other when we can?
Real quick,
And when you go ahead, brother, go ahead.
it's so funny because when it came to the brother Shrew that
Mm-hmm.
Obi and me hosted, and you guys did a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful job at it. When I was telling people about it, and even myself, when I first thought about brother Shrew, I'm like, all right, what is the actual impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go there and the impact, that impact still lives to this day. From the
Mm-hmm.
first brother show I went to, the
Mm-hmm.
second brother show as well, I met a lot of different people. But the first brother show, I met one of my best friends, big brother, business partner, accountability partner, um, somebody that I just grow with on a daily basis. You get what I'm trying to say? All
Mm-hmm.
from one event and one conversation. We
Yeah.
put each other on so many different opportunities. Uh, Gave so many good advice. When it comes to just helping each other, that's my brother now. Like you
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say, and it's crazy because we don't even understand. We ignorant to the fact we don't know the importance of just being in your brother's present. How
Yeah.
it can impact you in the long run. It's really
Yeah.
longevity. Like everything that we should be doing is for it should be for the longevity wise, and that's where we had the mindset where, all right, what we gonna do right now to get this, that, and third. Instant
Mm-hmm.
gratification. When we look at social
Yep.
media, we looking at all the celebrities, and we like, oh yeah, we need this tonight,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't show the process.
They don't. They don't. They don't. I do want to ask you this before we
Yeah.
end. I want to elevate you
Mm-hmm.
in your
Mm-hmm.
work. So right now, anything you got going on as far as nonprofit, as far as 9 to 5, as far as personal, this is your time to share, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to elevate you. Go
For
ahead, brother.
sure. Like I said in the beginning, the most important thing is I'm a student at Morehouse College. I had to take a gap year due to financial issues. However, right now I am raising money to get back to school. So you can go to my Instagram, one lil muk, one LILMUK, and you can view and click the link in the bio, where my GoFundMe is, and I'm trying to raise money, just to get back. Um, when it comes to Philadelphia, this is where my heart is, and it's here to stay. However, right
Mhm.
now I want to continue Morehouse and you know continue to achieve that goal that I was chasing, and just come back to Philly as a better version of myself, and just set my foundation back in Philadelphia. So if anybody can donate $1, $5, $10 to help me get back to school to continue the work that I'm doing, because um, the love of being of service remains strong, and that will never go nowhere. I told you, like, my Milaj is a humanitarian. Like, that's the verb. Like, I feel as though Milaj is a verb, and that the verb is humanitarian. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
that would never go away. But however, I definitely need that support from loving people and supporting people to invest into my future. So please do that. However, you can definitely go to my Instagram and see everything else that I got going on when it comes to my nonprofit organization, when it comes from advocating for the youth, when it comes from my journey of building in that um real estate, commercial real estate industry. I post stuff like that. So if you just want to see the journey, you want to get motivated, if you want to get, any type of advice or anything, follow my Instagram, please. And we definitely gonna make something happen.
Hey, brother, I want to say thank you for joining this space, creating a space of understanding, accountability as well,
Mhm.
and also joy.
Mhm.
I want to say thank you again. I'm proud of you, and I love you, man.
Thank you, brother. For real.
I also want to plug some things. Everything Media. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Instagram, TikTok. You can also follow our website as well. We got some merch. I got some on right now. Celebrate, empower, and inspire Black boys. You can click the link in our bio. You can see everything from the shop, from the projects we got coming up. From my own personal website is octaviuslblount.com. And also see you all next time with another dope brother here on the Middle Brother Podcast. Peace.
Shout out to Urban Thinking.